Welcome to another Harry's Hobbies video. I'll be working on the Foss Scale Models Marshall's Boat and Gas Diorama. We'll begin from here. As you can see in front of me, I've got the very basic parts of the building laid out already. Now these pieces, I've already cut these out so that they will just pop right out of the basswood that's already been laser cut. Now, the extra piece, don't throw this away because these slats are in scale. So they might come in handy for a scrap pile or an extra brace or something of that nature. So we set this off to the side and hang on to it. Now this is the other part of the building that I have not cut out yet. I wanted to show you guys how that's done. I simply take an X-Acto knife, and there's small little nibs just inside, and I just run the knife through those, and you just have to push down a little bit. It's not that hard. And you go all the way around. Make sure that we press through on this side, all the little nibs. We don't try to push it out just yet. Flip it over, and you'll see where the nibs are still kind of connected. We do the same thing on the other side, and this will cut all the way through those small little nibs. And after we've done that, these parts should pop right out, just like that. And again, this is a little bit different siding on these walls. So hang on to this piece. Again, this could come in handy for a scrap pile, extra stuff, maybe a repair that's been done on the building. So hang on to these as well. And then I am just about ready to start the first assembly, but if you run your finger across the edge, you'll feel where you cut those little nibs. So the easiest way I've found to lose those, other than, giving them a quick little trim with an X-Acto knife, is to just run them across a piece of sandpaper a few times, and that'll smooth them out enough that it's going to hold the glue. This also helps to take off, since these are laser cut, it removes the burn from the laser, which will make the glue attach easier to the pieces, because it removes that little bit of ash that's left. It's not, and that ash is not a big deal. But you do want to try to get as much of it off as you can. And you want to be very careful on these parts that are extended out like this, because they do flex quite a bit. So they can break off pretty easy. And even if they break off, that's not a huge issue, as you'll be able to glue them right back on. You do it on all the pieces where the nibs were at. Okay, that's the main building. This is the side building. And it doesn't take a lot of sanding to get these off and get the ash off. So now that we have that sanded off, I'm actually going to start. Now, the instructions call for setting braces inside here before the gluing so that the wood doesn't warp. And that's because, as it suggested in the directions, is to use a wood glue or an Elmer's glue, which is water-based, and that will soak into the wood and can cause warping. But I'm not using Elmer's glue on this particular part. I'm using the Gorilla Glue. And I use the Gorilla Glue for a number of reasons, because it allows me time to get things to set up. So what I do is I start with adding these in, and then I'll add the braces in a little bit later as the construction goes along. And what we do, and you test fit everything. Make sure that the little nibs are all the way gone. And then I'll build this part first. And I take, and this is why these bottles of glue last me so long, because it doesn't take much to glue this wood on. I just run a nice tiny little bead right along the edge. And then I run this and place it onto the glue. And we get it to set in place. And that little booger just doesn't want to quite set where I need it to. And that one's, there we go. And then we let that dry for a few minutes while we're doing the other piece. Now, I'm not going to do this, but what I am going to do is this piece, so that it will be a kind of an L shape. And then we just put the two together. And we'll have the foundation for the building. The first parts anyway. And I just wipe that glue off on my finger. That happens. And I'm not concerned with the glue seeping right now. Since this is on a corner, it'll have a corner piece that'll go over it. And we have that. And then we can see, you can see how that's going to go on in an L shape. And then we just do this similar with the glue. Go right along the edges. And we take this piece and it to line up where we want it to. Then we go over here to the back edge and move that into place. And hold that down for a few seconds and give the glue a chance to set up. It won't be completely dry right away, so I would not recommend putting any sort of paint, sealants, anything like that on here just yet. And there we have the very basic first part of the building. And then I'll move on to the side building. And again, we do the same thing. A small little drop, few drops of glue on the very edge. And I don't use much. It doesn't take much to get these to set. And try to get it as much as a 90-degree angle as you can. And then you won't run into issues with parts snapping off when you place them onto the other part of the model, since you've already got them as close to a 90 degree as possibly can. If they're a little bit off, don't worry about it, because you can bring them back into place. So there we have the first parts ready to go together, because these two buildings, these actually go together a little bit like this. But I'm not going to glue those into place yet, as I'm not sure exactly where to go until I have a little more of the roof lined up and we get down to the dock pictures. So that's the first few steps. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to take some close-up photos of these and get them posted in a slideshow format following this video. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.